Hi everyone, Tanya Hertz, Assistant Professor of Entrepreneurship and Management at San Diego Miramar College, lecturer at San Diego State University. I am here today to share with you a little bit about our class project. And first of all, I'd like to thank all of you for your kind words. I'm feeling much better and I'm back in action, and I wanted to make sure that you had everything that you needed in case you wanted to get started filling out your pitch deck, your final project for the class. We will have plenty of time to work on it together, but for those of you who wanted to get started early, we'll go ahead and start that. So there are slides available in the class, and they should be up there right now. And so we'll go through these slides one by one, starting with the basics of the pitch deck presentation. So everyone in your team is going to be presenting. You all have to speak. It does not have to be even. We're shooting for about 10 minutes for the presentation. It goes faster than you would think, and it's really a challenge getting that, getting those slides to all fit into a 10-minute presentation. So on the high end, try not to go over 12 minutes. I recommend practicing together as a team to give yourself the best chance of getting in within that time limit. And the way that you are building out the content of your pitch deck presentation is you're using all of the evaluation tools that we use in class, but primarily all of them go towards filling out that pre-model canvas, which I should show you where that is. The pre-model canvas, where do I have it here? No, it's not there. Maybe over on this slide, right there it is, pre-model canvas. So this is basically a one-page summary of all the key elements of your business, and it includes a lot of the components that we've been working on. And you're essentially, as a team, answering these questions based on your assumptions and putting all of the findings together at the end into this pitch deck. Okay, so that's that. All right, moving on. Oh, there it is. I didn't need to share the screen with you. I put it into the PowerPoint. So that's what it looks like. That's where we're pulling it from. And the pre-model canvas that we use in the class is essentially, it's based on the lean methodology principles. It's essentially like a business model canvas or a lean canvas, except unlike a business model canvas, it's designed to be specifically used for evaluating a new business idea, not for an existing company. And unlike the lean canvas, it's more designed for the very early stages of the evaluation before you're actually going out there and testing your ideas. It's making sure that you're ready to go out and talk to outsiders, talk to potential customers, to potential employees, investors, anybody who might want to benefit from or give you advice for your business idea. So this gets you ready for that. And so the elements of that form that we're using, that one-page sort of canvas that we've been working on, you pull those off and you put them into a pitch deck to show others your idea. And you also use this to create a prototype. And I'll talk about that in another video. But these are the key elements of your business model and of your pitch deck presentation. If you follow the content that's recommended here and maybe do a slide for each, you'll do wonderful. And you'll notice that there are 11 main sections, and with an average of about 1 minute spent per slide, that should be perfect. That should be perfect. Okay. So we'll go through them one by one, starting at the very first section or first slide in your presentation, and that's the introduction. Keep it short, keep it sweet. You do want to include the first and last names of all the team members, the name of your business. You can make it up for now, you worry about trademark later, and then your one sentence sort of tagline or elevator pitch for the business. It's in the offering section of the pre-model canvas where you've developed that one sentence pitch. The next slide is focused on the founding team members, the people behind the business, the roles that each person has in the business. Everybody has to have a role, even if in reality you wouldn't start the business as a team. And then you explain why each person was chosen for that particular role. It could be because of their experience or their skills or their education or their personality. It just needs to make sense why that person was chosen for that particular role. Oftentimes people will include a photo here of each person, which is lovely. As many photos as you can put in a pitch deck that are valuable, useful photos, I encourage including them. Don't just fill it up with clip art for the sake of filling it. So the next two sections are the problem section and solution, go hand in hand. So what problem you're solving. Now in this section, just like in a traditional business plan, it's always a good idea to share a narrative that can help the audience really cement the problem in their minds and really understand it well. So for example, you might tell about a specific person in your team experiencing the problem, and therefore you've come up with a business model solution. Or maybe you've seen other people experiencing this problem, but a story is a good way to share this section. The solution, describe how specifically your business will solve that problem. Value proposition, essentially this is how big of a problem is it in the lives of the customers? Is it a real significant problem? Because that matters. If it's a big problem that you're solving, you're much more likely to be successful and to make a lot of money than if you're just solving a problem that another business is already solving. You're just making it a little better somehow. Right? In terms of offering, this is your product or service or platform or app or whatever it is that you're actually selling specifically. This is where you'll show the prototype. Now, prototype, don't be afraid. It's an easy prototype. It's actually a pretotype or even a pretendotype, which is a version of a prototype that is the very, very early stages. And I'll talk about those in another video, so you don't have to hear about too many things in this one video. But if you have not yet made a prototype, this is you'll make one as a team now, and then you'll put that in there. And this is also where you include information about whether or not you can make money different ways, different revenue streams. So for example, maybe selling your customer data, or if you have a freemium service with a free and premium, whatever it is, you put the revenue streams there. Right? So these are some examples of the most common ways that people monetize their business ideas. Direct sales, right? Direct to consumer, and that could be direct to consumer through your website or through your own retail brick and mortar location. Maybe you're selling business to business. Business could include retail, it could include wholesale or other types of business to business. Just let us know if there are more than one revenue sources. Maybe you could sell advertising space, for example, affiliate marketing, allowing others to advertise on your platform, for example, your technology. You could offer commission. You could, earn commission rather. You could offer customers the chance to subscribe to premium services and pay. There's another revenue stream. Maybe you'll include branded merchandise in your revenue streams. Maybe you'll, like I said, sell your customers' data. There's so much money today in data, and you're going to be grabbing a lot of data. So that data is worth money. So in the competitive competition and competitive advantage, essentially this is where you're telling us who the direct competitors are, right? What is the alternative that your customer would have if he or she did not buy your offering, your product or service? Where would they go instead, right? Just name a couple of the big ones, and then tell us how you're differentiating yourself. What makes you different? How do you plan on keeping that advantage and not letting the other companies steal your idea or copy your idea? If you have any intellectual property protection or you're thinking about having some, this is where you would share that information. Okay? And the customer section is very important in our pre-model canvas, identifying that initial target market, the first users of our product or service. We're not saying how big the potential market is in general. We're talking about who we are going to reach out to first. So this is where you show your market segmentation table. This is where you would include your customer persona photograph and explain any if there are any sort of unique segmentation variables or styles that you need to use. For example, some of you are just by necessity, the type of business that you've created or the idea you've come up with makes you have to have a dual adoption strategy or two separate customers, maybe not necessarily dual adoption, but there might be a business to business model and a business consumer model. And so you might need to include both of those there. So we definitely next want to include the size of the potential first market or early adopter size. And so you will be showing right here, you'll show that segmentation table, and you'll talk about that total number of the market size. And tell us how often they'll be purchasing from you, whether it's weekly, daily, monthly, once in their lives, right? The works cited does not go into the pitch deck. It goes at the end. It's just for me. So the next steps, the next step in the pitch deck and the next step in your business is to explain the next steps, right? What happens next? You're going to examine the timing, the feasibility, the impact, because all of those will tell us whether or not this is a venture that has a high potential. This is the right company to start. This is the right idea to pursue, because there are many, many ideas you can come up with. You've got to choose one, maybe two when you first start. So let us know, are you actually going to start this company? Talk about the timing. Were there any trends that you noticed that would tell you, yes, this is the right time to start the business? You'll want to tell us whether or not it's feasible, meaning are you the right person or team to start this company? Are there gaps, and are you going to be able to fill the gaps? Is this an obvious way to make money, or is there an obvious way? Is it an easy business to start? Is it inexpensive? Is it a low maintenance business? And can you make it happen quickly? If the answer to those are no, that doesn't mean that you have to scrap the idea entirely. I've been doing this for a long time, and I have seen so many people just pivot, right? Change their idea a little bit and go back to the drawing board and come up with a way that they can get their idea to market quickly, because that's the goal. And then they are able to make it happen. So you also want to talk about whether or not this is an impactful idea. So is the problem widespread? Is the solution impactful is what we're looking at, right? So is there enough, or do you think there'll be enough demand for this? Is it a big enough market? And we're not just here talking about your early adopters or your initial market. In general, do you think that there's enough people to sustain this as a business idea? You don't have to get into the numbers here, but do let us know whether or not this is something that you can make money at, right? And if the problem is significant to in the people's lives, right? That's the impactfulness. If you can answer yes to all three of those questions, that's a high value or high potential idea. That's the kind of idea you want to start. And if you are interested in starting it, tell us what you're going to do next. I'll give you a little hint. Usually the next step is go out and talk to people, right? Ask potential customers, ask advisors, ask others what they think of the idea, right? And then listen to what they say and then come back and modify if need be. You want to end the presentation strong. So you'll conclude your pitch deck presentation. Let everybody in the audience know it's over. Thank you for your attention, right? And then afterwards, we'll stop the clock. We'll start the clock again, and we'll have 5 minutes of Q&A from the audience. Please, as audience members, ask questions to one another. Make sure there's a slide for us all to look at while you are presenting on the, or rather than presenting, while you are asking questions from the audience. Make sure that you answer the questions clearly and concisely. One sentence will usually do it. You should be able to answer any question in one sentence. If we want more information, we will ask. Everyone on the team needs to be able to answer questions. And you want to make sure that someone in the team is responsible for commanding the room, for letting people in the audience know we're still in charge here, and you are the next one who can ask the question, right? Point to a person and say, yes, you. So everybody knows what's going on. I've seen a lot of times where teams will just sort of fizzle out, and they'll kind of look to me to take over at that point. I won't take over at that point. This is still part of your presentation, right? And for the presentation, dress professionally, relax, smile. We know that research shows that people like people more who smile, and you're more likely to get people to buy from you if they like you. So smile, right? Speak slowly. I say that. This is one of those say what I do, no, do what I say, not what I do kind of things. I talk too fast. I apologize. I've heard that for years. I'm working on it. But if you do talk fast like me, slow down. Also, make sure that you're speaking louder than you think you would need to. Make sure you're speaking to the very back row of the room. And don't ever apologize if you mess up in a presentation. Just roll with punches, go on with it, fake it till you make it. Nobody will know that you messed up unless you say, sorry, I was supposed to say something else. Just roll with it. And if, in terms of deliverables, I do want you to turn in to me a hard copy of the presentation. This is just so that I can make notes on them. And there is another, so there's 2 other videos that I'm going to post. One of them is specifics on presentations and the features of giving a good presentation, which you can use for any class or any presentation. And the other video is about how to create a prototype. But I will say this, in case you don't watch the presentation video, make sure that you have the name of the person presenting on the slide on which he or she is presenting, because I write those notes on the deliverable. You can print them out in black and white, in color. If you are a broke student and you don't have the money to pay for printing, just come see me in my office and we'll print them out together. I'm going to be in there quite a bit over the next couple of weeks to catch up from being so sick. Make sure that you have everyone's name on the title page, the class number, the date that you're presenting, and the class name and number. And some things I've noticed over the years of watching people give pitch deck presentations, both in class and in industry. And I should say this is exactly the same pitch deck or type of pitch deck that you would give if you were applying to get into an incubator or an accelerator, or if you were applying for a loan or a grant or anything. This is what you would do. This is what we do in entrepreneurship and industry. So you're learning a skill that hopefully will be useful for those of you who do want to be entrepreneurs. And the things that I've noticed are, number one, a lot of times people will start talking. We have no idea what they're talking about. So make sure right at the beginning, you give that one line sort of pitch so that we know what you're selling. So we have a clear idea of the business. I've gone through entire presentations where they did not once tell me what they were selling or what the business idea was about. And I couldn't believe it. But it happens. We're nervous. Try to be enthusiastic but professional. Be clear, be concise. You don't want to make up and pretend like you're on a TV show or anything like this. You just want to keep it like a real pitch deck presentation. I already told you to speak loudly, scan the room, look around, keep your answers short. And that's that. I hope that all of you will enjoy doing this. And if you have any questions, let me know. I can't wait to watch your pitch deck presentations, and I will see you in class soon. Take care.